Hello, this is the 11th of the 3rd 2026, and when I arrived at the breach site this evening, expecting to see no work going on, but to try and get you an evening update of what had gone on, I was met with the small gap hire, was it a 5-ton excavator in the top compound, next to the bog mats that were delivered last night, and it was quite obvious that they were going to be moving those down to the bottom side. So I filmed that for you, as you'll see. Here they are in the wheel dumper being brought down the chemistry farm access. Just about to turn the corner and onto the canal side. Seeing them in the dumper really does show you how big these mats are. And I did ask one of the workmen what they'd been acquired for, and they were just to have on hand in case they needed throughout the rebuild. So if they get an excavator in a bit of a boggy spot or some such, they can drag some mats in and they'll have something to spread the weight a bit more, get them out of any bother they may get in. Just about to go through the area that used to be where the pumps were housed and over the lift bridge there. Down at this end they've got the 20-25 ton excavator from Flannery Hire ready to lift them off and stack them next to the security port cabin on the small compound that's complete there. You've got chains on them there. And they're lifting them off one at a time. And stacking them. If you notice, there is holes in the centres of these mats at each end, so they can be picked up with a chain. That's quite handy, so they are there ready to be picked up with an excavator. They don't need fork pockets or anything like that for a telehandler. Obviously, if a dig is stuck, then a telehandler would get stuck very easily. Well, they're doing a few trips up and down, so I'll try and get a better view for you on the next load. Was struggling again. It's very windy this evening. I was getting wind warnings on my drone, so I was just being careful. Of course, keeping it in line of sight at all times. And obviously they'll be disconnecting the chains from that mat and then putting the chains back into the dumper to take up to the top compound. Lovely sunny day today, but bitterly cold in the wind. My hands are absolutely freezing from flying the drone. Apologise if you can hear my stomach rumbling, it's getting on for tea time. Ready for my dinner now. Just dropping the chains off in the dumper there. And the dumper will soon set sail back up to the top compound for another 2. Reversing over the lift bridge by the looks. Dumper being pivot steer, so it can bend in the middle, that's how it steers. Very manoeuvrable, can get into lots of spots very easily. Get lots of telehandlers that are pivot steer as well, and they're very handy around lots of farm buildings and things like that, so they can get into all the tight passageways. I quite like pivot steer machines myself, and you seem to sit up quite high on a pivot steer, so you get a good view all around you. Some of the sidearm telehandlers like the JCB Loadalls, they're good, but you have a big blind spot behind the boom that's alongside you. Can't always see the best, and you sit a lot lower down on the machine. Same with the dumper really, you're up quite high and looking down. This is a slightly better view coming down Chemistry Lane. You can see him in the distance with the dumper. You can see the sun, it looks like summer. Doesn't quite feel like summer, but while he's coming down here, I would just like to say thank you very much for everyone who has subscribed and the supporters I've had on Buy Me a Coffee. The link for that's obviously in the description. But please do, if you haven't already, please do subscribe. It costs nothing and it really helps me out. And please do share the videos and comment. Sharing the videos, bigger audience, more views, spread the word of my videos, that's great, thank you. You can see the much better view of the bog mats, how heavy they actually are there. Obviously they've got to be of a fair strength to be used for bridging the weight of an excavator. I'll follow this dumper down towards where they're lifting them off. That's Joe's Pride and Joy there, which is moving on steadily. As you can see, this dumper's stopped there. That's because there's someone within the compound with a dog, and the dog was loose. So I think he was just wanting to let the man get his dog under control and then obviously get him out of the work compound. Good safety there. Over the lift bridge into the small bottom compound. The new compound they're building I'm going to call the big bottom compound, and the one that they've got at the moment, that's a small bottom compound. Of course the top compound is up on the road. Hitching the chains up again and just be doing the same as they were a moment ago. So anyway, I left site after this particular bit. They were doing many trips up and down. As you can see, there's quite a few bog mats there, and they were aiming to get them all down to this bottom original compound tonight. I believe there's CRT and some visitors to site tomorrow, so I presume they want these bog mats tidily down here. They were meant to be delivered down at the bottom, but they were meant to be coming on a rigid wagon, and they turned up on an Arctic, and I don't think the Arctic would have got into the site, which is why they've been dropped off at the top, as we saw last night. Obviously there's no telehandler on site anymore. That would have been perhaps a quicker, easier way of unloading them, but it's not here, so they've overcome the problem with the machines they've got, and they are making their way down. Anyway, I'll leave you there for tonight, so thank you very much for watching, and do check out my video tomorrow. I'll have a good video for you in the morning, and then hopefully we'll do another evening update if I can get away from work on time. Thank you very much.